Okay, today is about the canon of the Hebrew scripture we call the Tanakh. Tanakh is an acronym for Torah, Nevi'im, and Ketuvim. The Torah means law or instruction. Nevi'im means prophets, and Ketuvim means writings. Now, the Torah is at the very core, very center of all written revelation, and is a direct expression from the heart and mind of God to tell us of his nature and the character of the relationship he wishes to have with us and the kind of relationship that God has with mankind, human beings he has created. The Torah is the most important part of the Tanakh, and it comes first. And it's comprised of 5 books: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy. The entire Tanakh contains 39 Hebrew books. First 5 are in the Torah. Then after that come the 21 books of the prophets. And then finally, the 13 books we call writings. Okay, so everything, all genuine, legitimate revelation relates to Torah, including the Greek sacred writings. The Greek revelation, that relates to Torah, and even private revelation, if it's legitimate, relates to Torah. And the Talmud focuses more on the Torah than anything else. The Talmud, in fact, came about to give, I guess, a better description or kind of lead us to a better understanding of the Torah. At least that was the purpose of Talmud, to kind of make Torah more relatable. Okay, so after Torah in the Tanakh, the next group of books we call Nevi'im, or the prophets. They come next, and they are second in importance to the Torah. And what we have all throughout history, of course, we have the dual witness of law and prophets. The Torah and the prophets give a dual witness to what God would have us know, important to him for us to know for the sake of our salvation and to know our responsibilities to him. Okay, the books we call prophets in the Hebrew canon occur in this order: Joshua, Judges, 1st and 2nd Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, and then what we call the 12 prophets: Hosea, Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk, Zephaniah, Haggai, Zechariah, Malachi. They collectively are referred to as the 12, or the 12 prophets. We have a great deal of history appearing within the prophets. Joshua, Judges, it tells of history. 1st and 2nd Samuel, the history of Saul, David, 1st and 2nd Kings of Solomon, Rehoboam, and so on. Of course, we have the history of the Judges and Judges. We have Joshua featured in the book of Joshua, in Isaiah, Jeremiah, Ezekiel. We have prophetic utterances in the context of exile and or return from exile of Israel. Okay, and particularly in the 12, from Hosea to Malachi, we have a witness that God wishes to save what are called the Gentiles and bring them in and make them part of his covenant. The covenant he began with Israel, he wishes to expand and include the Gentiles. And we see this witnessed to clearly in the 12, the 12 prophets, the smaller writings. See, Isaiah, Jeremiah, and Ezekiel are sometimes referred to as major prophets because of their size, and the 12 are sometimes referred to as the minor prophets because they're much smaller. Not because they're less important, but simply because they're smaller. And then finally, the final part of the Tanakh are Ketuvim, or the writings, and they occur in order: Psalms, Proverbs, Job, Songs, or Song of Solomon, Ruth, Lamentations, Ecclesiastes, Esther, Daniel, Ezra, Nehemiah, and the Chronicles, First and Second Chronicles. Okay, so in terms of the Psalms, Proverbs, Job, and the Song of Songs, those are what we call wisdom literature, divine wisdom literature. Psalms to Song of Songs are considered wisdom literature, as well as Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is considered part of that as well. We also have the Book of Ruth and the writings, and that's the Book of Ruth tells us an important story of Ruth, who was a Moabite, who, because she took care of the widow Naomi, is added to Israel and has great honor among the Jewish people because of her fidelity to the Lord, of her embracing the true faith. We also have, after Ruth, we have Lamentations, which is part of the Jeremiah. Jeremiah is one of the prophets, and Lamentations are attributed to Jeremiah. Of course, Ecclesiastes already mentioned. Esther, oddly enough, is a short Hebrew work, and the name of God is not mentioned anywhere in Esther, but it tells a story of how the Jewish people are threatened by the wicked Haman, who is an Agagite, a descendant of King Agag, who is defeated, and Israel is rescued from destruction. And Esther, whose original name is Hadassah, and who becomes queen in place of the Persian queen Vashti, becomes instrumental in saving her people. Following Esther, we have Daniel, which is a mystical work, and we have Ezra and Nehemiah, which are, the two of them are sometimes referred to as First and Second Esdras. And what they are they tell us of the restoration of Israel. First and Second Chronicles, again, is history. Actually, Ezra, Nehemiah, and the Chronicles are all very much history. And of course, Esther is part of history. Daniel does contribute some history. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The others are not so much contributing to our knowledge of history as much as to wisdom, as much as to holy admonitions. Okay, though there's been some discussion of whether Job was a historical figure, he actually did exist in history, even though it seemed like he was just a kind of a parable. The work is a parable. Actually, there's a lot of witness to the fact that he's not merely a parable, but he actually existed in history and has been referred to as such. Okay, so we have, like I said, the two witnesses of law and prophets, and the writings provide a third witness. And they further expand on and clarify what God tells us originally in Torah. Torah is the main thing. And the prophets expand on that, and they tell us or show us or demonstrate to us more the wisdom of God's Torah. And the writings, of course, take that even further. Okay.